Good evening, and welcome to this edition of the Island Stats Cricket Show. I'm your host, Earl Biz, and I am awaiting my co-host, Andre Doc Manders. But let's give a rundown of today's matches. At the Wellington Oval, St. George's Cricket Club defeated the St. David's Cricket Club by 51 runs. St. George's scored 240 all out, and then bowled St. David's out for 189. At the Seabreeze Oval, Bailey's Bay won by 66 runs over the Southampton Rangers. Bailey's Bay scored 274 for 6 in their allotted 50 overs. Rangers scored 208 for 9 in their 50 overs. The final Premier Division match of the day was at Southampton Oval, where Western Stars won by 12 runs over the Warwick Workmen's Club. Western Stars scored 157 all out, and then bowled Warwick Workmen all out for 145. We'll go down some of the highlights of each match as well while we wait for Manders to show up. At Wellington Oval, St. George's batted first. Charles Trott was the top scorer with 76, which came off at 92 balls. He had 4 fours and 6 sixes. Isaiah O'Brien was the pick of the St. David's Cricket Club bowlers. He bowled 9 overs, 2 maidens, 3 for 29. In reply, St. David's were bowled out. Mikhail Crockwell was the top scorer with 60. His runs came off of 34 balls. He had 7 fours and 3 sixes. Derek Bregman chipped in with 57. Zico Burgess was the pick of the St. George Cricket Club bowlers with 9.3 overs, 1 maiden, 3 for 45. And Anzari Painter bowled 10 overs, 2 maidens, 3 for 49. The highlight of the day at the Seabreeze Oval was the performance of Rodney Trott. He led Bailey's Bay to that total of 274 for 6. He was the top scorer with 89, which came off 109 balls. He had 8 fours and 1 6. But Taryn Frey, the captain of Bailey's Bay, chipped in with 87. Rydon Swan was the pick of the Southampton Rangers bowlers with figures of 10 overs, 2 for 56. In reply, Rangers could only muster that 208 for 9 in their allotted 50 overs. Dalen Richardson, the captain, was the top scorer with 75, which came off at 85 balls. He had 5 fours and 3 sixes. Trott was the pick of the Bailey's Bay bowlers with 7 overs, 1 maiden, 3 for 30. So he had a knock of 89 and then 3 wickets for 30 runs. At the Southampton Oval, Western Stars batted first. Brian Hall was the top scorer with 52, which came off of 62 balls. He hit 5 sixes. Luke Fulton was the pick of the Warwick Workmen's bowlers with figures of 9 overs, no maidens, 3 for 24. And Crazy James bowled 9.4 overs, 3 for 32. In reply, Warwick Felder was 12 runs short of their target. James was the top scorer with 44, which came off of 65 balls. He hit 2 fours and 3 sixes. Trey Manders was the pick of the Western Stars bowlers. Yes, Trey Manders was the pick of the Western Stars bowlers. Figures of 8.3 overs, no maidens, 4 for 32. And Rohan Davis bowled 7 overs, no maidens, 3 for 36. We're going to take our commercial break, and when we come back, hopefully we'll be joined by Andre Doc Manders. We'll be right back.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this? John Barrett & Son is bringing us something fresh and exciting for the new year. Buy Antioxidant Infusion Beverage. Vi delivers the natural antioxidant benefits of the coffee fruit in glorious combination with a variety of exotic fruit flavors, with only 1 gram of sugar and 10 calories per bottle. The folks at Vi are inviting us on a world tour through these amazing flavors. Brasilia blueberry, Zambia Bing cherry, Costa Rica clementine, Malawi mango, Panama peach, Ipanema pomegranate, Kupang strawberry kiwi, and more. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
And welcome back. Well, for St. George, when they betted, they were at one point 44 for 1, and then soon after, they found themselves 69 for 4. And then it was a 40-odd run partnership between Sinclair Smith and Charles Trott, and then another 40-odd between Charles Trott and Zico Burgess before Trott fell with a 44-run partnership with Jason J. McKinney. I believe Doc is making his way onto the set now, but we'll continue. St. David's lost wickets early and often, struggling to stay in the match. They were 1 for 9, 2 for 13, 3 for 30, 4 for 37, 5 for 73, 6 for 77. And then it was a 95-run 7th wicket partnership. They went from 77 for 6, when Isaiah O'Brien got out, to 175 for 7 when Derek Bringman got out. That partnership was of 98-run partnership between Derek Bringman and, of course, Mikal Crockwell. Once Crockwell went, that run chase was pretty much over, and the rest of the wickets fell within 13 runs. Again, with the bowlers, St. David's bowlers, they had Aaron Painter took 2 for 42. O.J. Pitcher took 1 for 20. Derek Bringman took 2 for 58. Jacal Miners didn't take any off his 3 overs for 8 runs. Crockwell opened the bowling as well. He had 3 overs, none for 18. The St. George's bowlers fared much better. Zico, although he took 3 wickets, gave up the 45 runs. Shakai Darrell gave up 34 runs in his 9 overs. Mackay Simmons gave up 30 runs in 6 overs, but took a wicket. Rohan Richards, about 2 overs, he gave up 17 runs. And of course, Jason McKinney, 3 overs, 1 maiden, 10 runs for 2 wickets. And that was the St. David's battle. Let's take a look at the Bailey's Bay Southampton Rangers battle, because obviously a big total was put on the board by Southampton by Bailey's Bay. When you look at 274 for 6 in 50 overs, they didn't get a good start. They were 23 for 1, and then 40 for 2, 58 for 3, 63 for 4. And then the next wicket would fall on 203, and that was the partnership between Terran Frey and Rodney Trott. Rodney Trott was not out on 89, and Terran again was out on 87. The Southampton Rangers bowlers, only 2 other players took wickets. Isaiah Taylor 1 for 39 off of 6, and Dalen Richardson 1 for 49 off of 10. And then in the Southampton Rangers inning, they struggled right from the start. 1 for 3, 2 for 25, 3 for 35, 4 for 62, 5 for 64, and then they had a decent partnership between Jelani Oldboy and Dalen Richardson that took the score from 64 to 130 for 6 before Oldboy was out. And that pretty much took over that run trace. We didn't see anybody else make any substantial contribution to the score. If you look at it, only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players were in double figures. And after Dalen's 75 and Oldboy's 47, the next highest was Dante Bregman with 12, Mackay Wellman with 11, Nakori Smith with 11, and those were the double figures. Early in the season, we see a lot of extras. There were plenty of extras in the St. George's St. David's game, but in this game, I want to say Bailey's Bay gave up 41 extras. 32 were wide deliveries. And of course, in their bowling department, Rodney got the 3, but the KO Hart, 10 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 41. Courage Storm, 9 overs, 2 maidens, 2 for 24. They were the wicket claimers. Shirai Tavares, 9 overs, 1 wicket for 54 runs. So plenty of runs in that. Then that nail biter up at Southampton Oval, where these two teams, as Doc and I said last week, they needed a win because both came into the match with a loss column under their belt, and they needed to pick up a win along the way. And in that match, again, Western Stars batting first, 1 for 12, 2 for 29, 3 for 29, 4 for 35, 5 for 44, 6 for 49, 7 for 49. And then they had a stand with Brian Hall and Justin Robinson, who scored 40. They took the score from 49 to 143 for 8. And then it was 157 for 9 and all out for 157. In the other building department for the Malachi Jones, 10 overs, 2 maidens, 2 for 25. Luke Horan, 6 overs, no maidens, 1 for 19. Stephen Dill, 7 overs, 1 for 30. And Corey Burgess, 2 overs, none for 18. And then in the run chase, Warwick opened with Malachi Jones and Quincy James. Malachi was out early when the score was on 3. And then there was another wicket falling on 13. Then there was a stand between Quincy James and Luke Horan. They took the score from 13 for 2 to 98 for 3. And we are joined by Andre Doc Manders. We're going to add him to the conversation. Good evening, Doc.
Good evening, Earl.
How you doing?
I'm great.
Great stuff. Just been running down some of the scores and some of the highlights. I'm on the Western Stars Warwick game, so let's continue on that vein. Western Stars batted first, got that 157. Did you think 157 was enough?
When I first heard it, not at all. But I don't really think 157, not up on ranges. I didn't think it was enough runs. But like we talked about last week, right? Early in the season, and if you get, remember we talked about, if you get Warwick's top batsman, I'm not saying the rest are going to struggle, but I think maybe the rest are, they're probably, early in the season, talking about form, they're probably not been betting. So anything could happen.
Yeah.
When you talk about the top batsmen, you got Malachi, Kwesi, and the boy Sergio, Rana, and then of course you got down the back Corey, the captain Corey Burgess, and a few. Mm-hmm. So I just think that was a little bit of that inexperience.
Right.
So like I said, if you get Malachi and these guys early, they had a decent start. like they would. I mean, they lost. They was 2 for 12,
Right.
and then they got a good partnership between I think it was Crazy and
Foreign.
Luke. Yeah, right. And then I think once they broke that, you know, Stars was back in it.
Right.
But you know, I think what happened then, they was on top.
Right.
And I was really surprised that Trey came on the ball. I think Trey came on the ball and broke one of those. I think he got Luke out. And,
Yes, you go, Luke. Yes.
Yes, and I think I don't know if the rest of the guys, you know, could be like say inexperienced. I don't know if they panic or what, but you know, that was probably one of the last recognized batsmen. And but they're still on top, you know. So you know, I was surprised. I think Trey probably just went for it. You know, he's been bowling in the nets a few times. He's been bowling. He still got a shoulder problem, so I was surprised that he did bowl. But
they needed to break it up. So as the captain, he took it on his shoulders.
Yeah, sometimes you have to do that, and end up getting 4 wickets and winning by 12 runs.
When I said it, I said yes, Trey Mendes. I got 4 wickets.
Yeah, you know, sometimes when you're captain, you know, he's not, he didn't get any runs,
right?
And so I figured, like, you know, like I said, he's been bowling a lot in the nets, trying to get everybody else to hit, you know, because he has been betting for the national team, so you know, he's trying to let the other guys get enough, being that he's already betted. But like I told him, that was months ago. Now you need to start betting in the nets again. So he's been practicing in bowling, so I guess that came about, that worked out.
Yeah, because he had a few overs in that tournament up at Southampton Rangers before he started the season. So I guess he enjoyed.
Yeah. Yes, and that too. So he did bowl in that tournament too. So I guess he knew how the wicket was playing. You know, so you know, all that helped, I guess, assisting him getting those wickets.
Right.
But like I said, I was a little bit surprised too. But you know, I think Warwick really let that game get away from him.
Yeah. I mean, as we said last week, it's a must-win situation for both teams. Whoever came out on top will feel a lot better, you know, going into week 3, because they now have a win in the column. Whoever didn't get that win is now 0-2, and you're stirring up at the bottom of the table, saying, okay, how do we get out? You know?
Yeah, you know, that's true. And we talked about, like I said, that last week. So I'm sure Stars was happy for that victory, but I know still they're not too happy with their betting. Right. Because they have enough batsmen in their team, you know, to 130 last week and 150. It's just that it was very, I won't say lucky, but fortunate in this week that they, you know, the bowlers came up and got some wickets. So you know, like I said, I don't know how the wicket played, but I you know, looking at it in both teams again, it's still a lot of RBWs, and you know, like I said, we talked about, that's definitely early season. Guys, probably the wicket might be a little slower than they anticipate. Ball maybe staying low, and you know, but still, there's no excuse. You know, the betting lineup that both teams have. If you look at Warwick too, Malachi getting the runs. Crazy was probably anyone got 40 something.
Yeah.
So and I'm glad to see Brian got some runs too, because you know Brian and Trey made both of the runs last season. So I don't think I think this might give the batsmen some encouragement now that the bowlers can do the job now, and hopefully those guys could get some runs.
Yeah. And
with Warwick too, I'm thinking, like, you know, Warwick's not out of it yet, because they've got some guys in that team that could, you know,
change the game.
I don't care who they're playing against. They you know, they could come up against whoever's left in the 50 and still put up a good show too. You know, I mean, they're not, even though they're 0-2, it's still not out of the picture yet, because I'm pretty sure they can get 1 or 2 victories too.
Oh, definitely. Well, let's take another commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk that Bailey's Bay Southampton Rangers match. We'll be right back.
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
They're putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
Here's one of our favorite feature brands, true veterans of the food awareness movement. Bob's Red Mill, the U.S. leading miller of organic whole grain foods. Only whole grains have the entire value developed during growth. And once you try them, you know that this is the way food was intended to be. Try Bob's Red Mill blanched almond, whole wheat pastry, and artisan bread flours, and 1-to-1 gluten-free baking flour, unsweetened shredded coconut, gluten-free homemade wonderful bread mix, and a variety of rolled oats. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
He dropped out, but we're adding him back. All right, Doc, welcome back. Bailey's Bay were able to put up a total of 274. I keep getting that wrong. 274 for 6 in their 50 overs. Rodney Trott was the top scorer with 89 not out. For the second week in a row, Terrence Frey got a half century. He got 87. Those two shared a big partnership, taking the score from 63 for 4 to 203 for 5 when Taryn got out. So it looks as if, for the second week in a row, Stephen Otterbridge getting a dock. It's and I only say that, and I'm not being derogatory towards him. It's difficult when you're the president having to try to make sure that the club's running, and then you turn your attention to a cricket game. It's that juggling act. I'm hoping that he can, manage it. But it looks like it's a struggle for him right now. Form's not on his side right now.
Yeah, I know Stephen, experienced batsman. He would soon turn that around. Like you said, it could be that too. But I'm sure that has been training, and they got Connie coming around, and I'm sure that they can. He'll turn that more quickly. I don't think I won't be too concerned about that yet, because they're still winning too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Terrence brought that form from Argentina back to Bermuda and has continued on that vein. I mean, last week 50 odd, this week 87. Next week is it triple figures?
Yeah, it could be. Terrence on good nick right now. But Terrence always started off the season really good. He's one of those batsmen, a 50 over player. One of those batsmen, once he gets in, he finds the gaps. He plays straight. He plays sore fans and all that. So I'm not really surprised. He was in good nick in Argentina too. When he did bat. So and being captain. I'm sure he's gonna probably get a lot of runs this year along with Rodney, and I'm sure Stevie will chip in eventually too. One thing about Bay, they're making runs now, and with that bowling line up, with Rodney back, they have a pretty decent bowling line up too.
Yeah, again, we talk about Southampton Rangers, trying to find a way, just trying to find a way, and we were talking last week about baby steps, and one of the baby steps today was they didn't get bowled out. They got 208 for 9 in 50 overs. So if they take anything from today's match, it's we didn't get bowled out, guys. We could bat 50 overs. Might not get the runs, We go back 50 overs, and that for them is a plus and a bonus because they can now say we could stay in this league.
Yep, definitely a bonus. And not only they got a not out, they scored 200.
Yeah.
You know, so like I said, they do have a few decent batsmen in there.
Mhm.
The captain,
Dalen Richardson.
Dalen Richardson's, you know, making runs consistently.
75.
You know, and you know he's a good all rounder. So you know, Dalen's gonna have to do a lot of betting this season, and that's good for him because last season, you know, when they had the Dion's, the Narrows, and you know, sometimes he probably didn't bet that often, but now he definitely bet this season. And so you know, he scored 70 or today.
75.
Yeah, so you know, and Jelani too. That's what the two batsmen we talked about last week.
Yeah.
And you know, they're making runs. I didn't know if Alex Stewart played today.
Alex Stewart didn't play today.
Yeah.
He didn't play. Yeah.
So, but still, you know, there's a two experienced batsmen that's been playing regular for Southampton Rangers over the seasons too. So, you know, who knows? Like I said, you know, that's definitely a confidence booster because not out and scoring 200. So I'm sure Rangers could only get better and better.
Definitely. I mean, Rodney had an outstanding day. The 75. The 89 not out. And then in the bowling department, he took three for 30 off of 7 overs with 1 maiden. You know, so he's contributing right back where he left off Bailey's Bay 2 seasons ago.
Oh yeah, that's a big pickup for Bay. Rodney back. Rodney gives a lot to Bay Club. Like I said, a good all rounder, a former captain. So you know, that was a big bonus in getting him back. So you know, especially for contention for winning the league. In the 50 overs now, you know, with the bowling line up, they got, like I said, with the batsmen, they got that on form.
Right.
So yeah, Bay's not looking too bad. St. George's are not looking too bad.
Right.
So you know, Cleveland had a bye today, right?
Yeah, Cleveland had the bye today. Yeah.
Right. So you know, it's gonna be interesting 50 overs. St. Davis played, you know, their first match today. I think we talked about that last week too with Clay, that Clay was the one who's saying if St. George is playing one game and St. Davis not, you know, maybe a little bit of rusting has been in there,
right.
But you know, it was good that they still, you know, was able to get some runs on the board and get some wickets. So can't count out St. Davis early in the
Actually, I mean, at one point in time, they had St. George's in deep trouble. They had St. George's, and I say deep trouble, when you're 69 for 4 and you have Anzari Painter, Tamika Wilson, Aronde Bascom, and Makai Simmons back in the pavilion, and Onias is not playing.
Yeah,
you know, somebody else had to step up, and that was who stepped up. Charles Trott. Charles Trott scored 76 off of 90.
That was a good innings in him. That was probably a good innings for him. That's probably took him right out of trouble.
He struggled at the beginning. I watched a bit of his early part of his inning. When I say he struggled, right, I think he was trying, because you know how some batsmen go to bat and the team's in trouble and they try to hit their way out of trouble.
Well,
he was just not making contact, which was for St. George was a good thing. And then, you know, guys were talking to him and he settled down and he started to play the ball, you know, along the ground and so forth, and, you know, find the gaps, got running between the wicket. Unfortunately, Mackay got run out looking for a cheeky single. Great pick up by Saki Robinson, Sammy Robinson's son. Picked up, threw in. George O'Brien was wicket keeping. You know, so yeah, I mean, to be 69 for 4 and those batsmen back in the pavilion, Sinclair and Charles put on a little stand, and then Zico came in, quick fire, 19 off of 11, 2 sixes. And by then, St. George's felt comfortable with the score. You know, when you're 195 for 7, you feel more comfortable, you know.
Something to build at,
Yeah. You're looking at, you're staring at you're looking at the scoreboard saying, okay, how do we get ourselves out of this? But, even listening to Clay last week and listening to him today, all he kept saying was patience. Just be patient. If you're patient, eventually they'll get tired. Like anything else, they get tired. So Charles managed to pick that one up.
We always talk about partnerships, so and that's the key. That's like Rodney and Terrence partnership. And then it was the partnership with St. George's with Charles Trotter and Sinclair.
Yeah.
So and those two teams ended up winning.
Mm-hmm.
So basically
partnership with Brian Hall and Justin Robinson.
Yes, they gave him a formidable total too. And with St. George, with Warwick's one, I'm sorry, with Kwesi and
Corin.
That partnership was good. And then you come on and then let a number come on and get it because normally that happens. You probably didn't know what Trey Burl. 9
times out of 10 that happens.
Every time.
You've never seen him bull. You don't know which way he's turning the ball. You don't know what to expect. So you start to relax a little more.
Yeah. I think he was darting to me and he's building medium.
Oh, okay.
He was darting me. That's what I saw him building in training. He was in training. He was tell you the truth. He was building in training a couple of weeks ago and he was darting to me really quick. I was like, hey, maybe you can build, but I never tell him to build. Because it's got a shoulder injury too. He's got to be careful. The shoulder's not up to par, but I guess it's getting better.
Right.
But he can't build too often. But I think that was probably a good time to come on
tomorrow. It'll happen tomorrow. That's for sure.
Yeah, you'll find out tomorrow how it is. But look what happens. He got a result.
Yeah. When he goes to put his helmet on, or he goes to get a shower, and he has to raise that arm, that shoulder. It would let him know. Yeah. You better ice it all tonight.
Yeah.
And then just looking at the St. David's inning, they were in trouble early. I mean, 1 for 9, 2 for 13, 3 for 30, 4 for 37, 5 for 73. That 4 for 37, you had George O'Brien, O.J. Pitcher, Shannon Rayner, and Saki Robinson back in the pavilion. Then they got a little stand between Derek Bregman and Justin Pitcher. Before Justin was out for 7 on the score on 73. And unfortunately, Isaiah O'Brien was run out, but the score was 77. But then Derek and Mikhail Krockle took the score from 77 to 175. 77 for 6 to 175 for 7. Then Derek was out. But once Krockle got out with the score on 89, that chase for the 240 was all but ended right there. They were 39 overs in. Unfortunately, when he got out, it was 38 overs, 38.4. And then Cal Minus was the last batsman to fall with the score on 89. But again, as we said, we didn't know who was going to show up for St. David's, who was going to be available for St. David's. They were missing some players. But if you look at the lineup, experience, Shannon Rayner, George O'Brien, O.J. Pitcher, Justin Pitcher, Derek Bregman. Those 5 there are the experienced guys that they're going to be looking to a lot. Eddie and Ricardo Bregman, to the field to add another bat, and the Ricky Keat. Who knows? I mean, they gave up. I just want to be sure. They gave up 47 extras. 27 were wides. 88 buys, 1 no ball, and 11 buys. As you said, it's early in the season, but they've got to bring that number down considerably. Yeah. They have to bring
definitely. Most definitely. And we talked about it. It seems like already the extras has been counting on a lot of the teams. I was surprised with Bays, the amount of extras they get up.
Yeah.
Wide and no balls for that. I know Gus not too happy about that. Like I said, it's still early in the season, so
right.
They still most teams got to still work on that because in the long haul, if you keep doing that there, that you could eventually it's gonna hurt you.
Right, without a doubt. Without a doubt. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take our final commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about the player of the week last week that we didn't announce and the player of this week. We'll be right back.
It seems everyone knows someone who's lactose intolerant or just avoiding dairy products. Unfortunately, there's a growing array of delicious and nutritious alternatives. Pacific Natural Foods have been doing things their own way simply and sustainably for over a quarter century, making non-dairy beverages with the finest possible ingredients right down to the packaging. Try Pacific Natural Original and Vanilla Hemp Milk and Almond Original Plant-Based Beverage, all sweetened or unsweetened, and low-sodium organic vegetable or chicken broth. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
And welcome back. Well, Doc, last week we looked at some of these top performers. Terran Frey, his 52 against Wart Workman's. Kushai Darrow, 49 for Cleveland up at Somerset. Dalen Richardson was 33 for Southampton Rangers. In the bowling department, Dion Stovall took that 7 for 30, all for 9.3 overs and 1 maiden. Luke Fulton, 4 for 18. Carl Hudson, 4 for 34. But looking at it, the performance of Dion Stovall for Cleveland last week with the ball.
Earl,
yes.
I think that was wrong though, with Dion getting 7. I don't know but I looked at it again. I think Alan Douglas got 4 wickets last week. Remember we thought. So I don't know what the scorecards were saying, but on a different scorecard, they had Alan Douglas getting 4 wickets and Dion getting 3.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So that's something we might have to check out because, like I said, when I looked at the one of these scorecards too, it said 7.
Right.
And then when I looked in the BCB one, they had Alan Douglas bill, so it was a mix-up somewhere with the scorekeepers, man.
Okay.
So I think Alan got 4, and I talked to Trey, and Trey said Alan Douglas did a bill, so somebody's got something wrong. So I think Alan got 4, and Dion got 3.
Okay. Well, let's actually leave that one for another week. We'll come back to player of the week. Only because I don't want to get it wrong. I want to confirm it with the board, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, we need to confirm that.
Yeah. All right. So let's jump to this week. And obviously, top performers this week, we had Charles Trott scoring the 76 for St. George's. Isaiah O'Brien, 9 overs, 2 maidens, 29 for 3. Crockwell for St. David's, 60. Zico Burgess, 3 for 45. And Zari Painter, 3 for 49. At Bayless Bay, of course, Rodney Trott, 89. Terran Frey, 87. And Rodney Trott's 89 was not out. Of course, Dalen Richardson was 75, not out for Southampton Rangers. And Trott was the pick of the Bayless Bay Bowlers with 7 overs, 1 maiden, 3 for 30. And then, of course, up at Southampton Oval, you have Brian Hall scoring 52, Luke Fulton taking 3 for 24, Tracy James taking 3 for 32, and then, of course, for Warwick, James was the top scorer with 44, and Trey Manders, 8.3 overs, 4 for 32, and Rohan Davis, 3 for 36 off of 7 overs. But the outstanding performance from Rodney Trott with both bat and ball makes him the standout player for week 2 of the Premier Division. And I'm happy to call him the Gosling's Player of the Week, if you're happy with that.
Totally agree. As soon as I heard that Rodney got the wickets and runs, it's Rodney, senior player, like I said, 89. I think that was the highest score
for the day,
of the season so far too. And of course, has got 3 wickets too. Yeah, so most definitely an all-round performance.
Yes, yeah. All right, brother. Well, we were trying to get a coach to join us this evening, but unfortunately, we weren't able to confirm anyone. But definitely next week, we're hoping to have one of the either Premier or First Division, because the First Division does start next week. We'll hopefully get the first look at what the stadium has got to offer. There's been some work on the wicket up there, and of course, I believe, does Western Stars play there on Sunday?
I think Western Stars plays there this week.
Yeah.
Or the following week. I know they got a game there.
Yeah, they have a game there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll welcome the First Division teams to the field this coming weekend. I believe there's a match, 2 matches on Saturday. So,
and I'm sure those guys are ready to go, man. The season starting, and they haven't played a match yet.
Right.
It's a little difficult. So, it's all right training. Then it's nothing like getting out in the middle.
Yes, definitely.
So hopefully, the First Division, we could get that started, and we could see how the development of players in the First Division, because that's going to be. It's going to be, I think it's going to be rough, for teams down there too. You got Somerset Flats, trying to get back up there. I'm sure Somerset would be putting a lot of emphasis on returning back to the 50 overs.
Yeah. Interesting to see what they look like. As we know, last year they struggled with numbers. But let's see how they make out early in the season, because they still have the same dilemma. A lot of the youngsters are away in school. So
but they have a few back, and they picked up a few new players. So I think they'll be all right. Won't be as so bad as last season, especially early in the season. Gennaro's up there. I'm sure his is probably signed up just in case they are short.
Right.
I think we've got 1 or 2 boys back from school, from what I heard.
Right.
So, I think, they picked up a couple of the few commercial players last season that's in the national squad. I think they should be all right.
Yeah. Stars do play on Saturday at the National Sports Center, so it was confirmed.
Because I know they play a game this week, and I heard it was Saturday too.
Yeah. So they get the first taste of the wicket. Let's see.
But I thought it was something up. I think it was a Race for Life up there next week too, Saturday.
I don't know.
Oh, that's what I heard. I don't know too, but we'll find out. But I know they definitely do play up the stadium. I don't know if it's Saturday or Sunday.
Right. Relay for Life. Is that next week?
That's what I heard.
Yeah. All right, brother.
But maybe they're playing on Sunday. I don't know. We'll find out, because the schedules, there's been some changes not changes in the schedule, but it's I looked at it last week, and I remember seeing some changes that I didn't know about. So I'm not too sure. I had to look at it again.
Yeah, so Relay for Life is next week.
Yeah.
So I guess there won't be any cricket at the National Sports Center on Saturday
Right.
nor Sunday.
Yeah, because I think that's on Saturday too, isn't it?
Yeah, it starts Friday night and ends, I think, Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Or Saturday
So,
night, something like that.
yeah. So I don't know if those games will be going on, or if those games are the following week. But
Right.
I do know Stars do have a few games up the stadium though, which is good. At least they get a
Yeah,
chance
the other
to.
concern is Devonshire. I've been across there a few times, and nothing's been done to the middle other than ripping it off or blocking it off with girls.
Right.
Nothing's been cut, nothing's been ruled, nothing.
Yeah.
So it's
So
going to be a great
maybe
concern as well.
they'll probably be playing their games away for they'll probably be playing up the stadium too.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
uh,
all right, buddy.
all right, mate.
Have a good night, right? Folks,
You
we'll be
too.
back next week Sunday with another edition of the Island Stats Cricket Show. We'll be back. Thank you. Have a good night.